Forget about it, okay? I was like, damn.
ASMR.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Don't do that.
My man.
Yo, what up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Offbeat And Unfiltered. I'm your boy, Louis B. And today we have special guests, two special guests actually in the house. And this episode is going to be a fun episode as well, but it's also going to be a little more serious. And we're going to be sharing some stories about recovery. And we have a special guest here in the house. We have Chris and
Klee.
Klee. There we go. Chris and Klee.
Yeah.
Rockenmiller.
Yep. Rockenmiller. Yeah.
Rockenmiller.
Yeah.
How's it going, man?
Good.
Quick introduction, real quick to have you, real quick.
How you doing? Nice to meet you.
Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And give us a quick background on your
Okay. We'll both have-
backstory.
Yeah.
Who
Little.
wants to start? Chris?
I'll start. My name is Christian Rockenmiller. I'm originally from Pennsylvania, so we're gonna focus this episode on recovery. I've been 4 years. We've both been 4 years clean. I'm a recovering addict. I was a heroin addict. I lived in Yuma, Arizona, for about 15 years. Moved out here when I was about 18. Got caught up in heroin. I don't want to go into the gory details of all the using. It's a pretty common story how that goes. But 4 years ago, my fiance at the time and I moved to Tucson to go get clean. We went to rehab at America's rehab campus. And then we will continue on with the story after that. You want to go ahead and give your introduction?
Yes, my name is Klee Rockenmiller, but you can call me Klee. I'm also 4 years clean. I am from the Fort Yuma Quechan Indian Reservation. I am 25% Quechan, 25% Kokopah. I was originally born in Brawley, California. And being on the reservation, you just grow up around addiction. It's normal, it's acceptable. And finally went to rehab, I think 10 years into my addiction, and started a new life.
And how far back were we going to back into the early days when the years of addiction?
So for me, I started using when I was 11 or 12. So I started really early. It's a little different on the East Coast. Growing up in Pennsylvania, heroin is huge. Growing up, we have to, at our elementary schools, staff has to be equipped with Narcan, and that's elementary schools, not just for students, but for parents and stuff too. It was an epidemic. The opiate epidemic definitely hit over on the East Coast prior. We didn't have a whole lot of meth or anything like that. In fact, growing up, I never even saw meth. It was, and my story starts off with, really smoking weed, drinking. That was what I thought I was expected to do, you know what I mean, as a young man, young boy. And then it progressed beyond that, I was introduced to painkillers. And then after a couple of years on painkillers, it progressed to heroin, and eventually I ended up with a needle in my arm. Yeah.
So I would say, well, in California, you know, they say are California not sober, so it's just straight up cannabis, or just like straight like
Are you-
sober, or like or.
Are you asking if we're Cali
Yeah,
sober?
definitely not
Yeah,
California
no, man.
sober.
We're completely 100%. No
100%
drinking. Yeah, no weed, no nothing. You know, a big part of my recovery. No, you're good. You're good. A big part of my recovery now. Like I started off we both started off in the rooms of like Narcotics Anonymous, going to a lot of meetings. That's kind of what we were taught in rehab. But I got introduced to a lot of brothers and sisters out there on the Yaqui Reservation. Yep.
So do you know, real quick, my uncle Domingo Rios from the Yaqui Pasco tribe. He was out there for he ran the tribe for a good while. For a lot of years back in the day, talking about like 15 years ago.
Yeah, we've only been in Tucson for about 4 years. Yeah. We've been in Tucson for 4 years. I'm not familiar with that gentleman.
He's still involved with the Yaqui Pasco tribe.
Okay.
In Tucson.
Okay. Yeah. So like a big part of my life now is ceremony. So Vision Quest, we do Sweat Lodge. You know, and well, if I could back it up a little bit, right after rehab, after we had been clean for about, I think it was about 8 months, we started working in recovery. And so that was a big part. We wanted to give back. You know, we spent a lot of time. In on the other side of the tracks, if you will. And so we decided that, you know, we were given a gift to be able to restart life. You know, we were given a second chance, and we didn't want to waste it. So we decided that we really dedicated the next few years of our lives to helping others, to giving back to the community, reaching out to people back here. Anywhere that the message could be received, we were willing to go. We would drive anywhere to pick anyone up that was willing to go and give themselves a fighting chance at recovery.
So, how far were you into? How long did you say use?
For me?
If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, you can ask it. I got nothing. I'm 39.
39.
Yeah, and I didn't start using heroin right away, but I started using when I was 11.
So you're like 11 all the way
To 35, I want to say. 4 years ago, 35. Yeah, we've been clean now. June 1st is our clean date.
Yes.
Yeah.
I started using at the age of 35. Before that, I smoked a lot of weed, like in my late teenage years, got over that. Did a lot of drinking in Mexico before I was 21, got over that. And when I'm looking back on like how addiction began to form, my childhood, dealing with, traumas from my grandpa and things like that, those things were unresolved. Things I thought I had gotten over, and then once I hit 35 and my life started to fall apart, I had gotten arrested and put on probation for the first time, and wasn't allowed to go back to the reservation. I had to stay in Yuma, which took me away from my kids, and there was a lot of time and opportunity, and I got addicted to meth. And in my mind, I thought it was curiosity and boredom that started it, but when I did the work that you learn how to do on yourself, which is self-reflection, resentments, making amends, really checking how your brain works and thinks, and unlearning the dysfunctional things that I was taught on my reservation, unlearning those things, and going back in your family tree and realizing where your grandma and grandpa came from and where there was addiction there, and your mother and father where there was addiction there. And pretty soon you get to see this almost straight line of where addiction has touched every generation in your family, to where I kind of didn't have chance unless I unlearned everything I was taught and had to relearn how to care about myself, how to care about others, and the work that it takes to even be charitable to another person. You know, you can hand money to another person, but to really like drive them somewhere to their appointments and check on them week after week after week, that takes a lot of yourself. And recovery has just taught me a different perspective on how to understand a person and where I can give myself and where I need to hold space for myself. So it helped me look at my people, how we are not taught emotional intelligence. We're not taught emotional regulation. We're taught to fight and survive. And those things don't work out in the world outside of the reservation bubble. Fighting lands you in jail. I've been in and out of jail for 10 years of my life. I've had babies in jail. I've been pregnant in prison. And those are all the places my addiction has landed me. And then I was given this perspective at this rehab 5 days in that I don't have to do that. I don't have to fight. I don't have to struggle. I could just learn about myself and find a different way, a new way. I'm only speaking for myself when I say, like, if you've been born into struggle and your life has been struggle and you've watched your parents struggle to provide for you and it's just struggle after struggle, the mind from a child into an adult, you lack the skills to learn how to live and how to thrive. And so there was this space. I had nothing in that space, and so meth happily fell into my lap. Happily took my children, happily took my life, happily took my freedom. And you don't see all that until you get off of it and someone from the outside of this bubble says, hey, look back at all of this stuff. You don't have to do it. You don't have to redo it again. And so I haven't looked back. California sober is not sober to me. It is not sober to me. My sobriety, I have gotten back children I have lost for over 8 years. 8 and 9 years. I just got one kid out of foster care after losing him at the age of 8. Got him back when he was 16. Got my daughter back after 9 years. We have a house full of kids. And the first thing I hear people say in the rooms, especially moms, is I want my kids back after being 3 months clean, 6 months clean. But I'm here to tell you, just let them come when your higher power says it's time for them to come, because with every blessing is a responsibility. Everything that you want in life, you got to be ready to take care of it and be responsible for it. You want a new car, that's tires, maintenance, car payments, gas, so there's this great balance that needs to be learned, whether an addict or not an addict, just as a human being. And I really would like to come back to my res and teach the basics, the emotional regulation, the emotional intelligence.
Real quick, bro, peer pressure is hard, and we're men, and sometimes we crowd you with, like, hey, you have a drink, or hey, smoke this, smoke that, do this, do that, or something, and, going back to the California story, cannabis is like everywhere, everybody, and even the grandma, smokes, uses cannabis. Do you guys believe it's a gateway drug to something else, or it's just being medically used? But also, where I'm going to is being separating the crowd and getting with the right crowd, with the right crew, and with the right group to recover. Where did you guys go to? Did you go to like a recovery group, or did you guys lean more into like a church group?
Okay. So let me start off with the first part of that question, which is about like how do we feel about like smoking weed and cannabis and being around that. So
As medical use.
that's
Because some people do use it as like, oh, you want to smoke a joint, hit the bong, and just for the fun, just for the, for the health, it's good, right? But there's people that do have that need for that medical use.
Absolutely. Look, and I think, I don't know if I'm pretty sure I speak for both of us. We're not here to dictate.
Right.
There's no one size fits all when it comes to life or even recovery. A lot of places will try to teach you or tell you that it has to be this way or it doesn't work at all, which isn't true. So there's no judgment. I mean, and if smoking weed is okay for you and you're like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not taking away from any, like, having a negative effect on your life, then why not? Not to mention, like, I've got no issues being around it. Some of my friends nowadays, some of my close friends smoke weed. I don't still, but that's their decision. And
they're respectful enough to just go outside the yard.
Yeah.
I do. I've had my medical card since it first was legal here in Arizona, and my background is that I was a professional MMA fighter, professional boxer.
Oh shit!
So
Okay.
all twisted and crooked.
Okay.
Can't tell, but I mean, I have to wear some special insoles, so I can kind of level out a little bit because from all the trips and falls and all that stuff. Hey, fighting's like having your body. Any type of sport is having your body.
Mm.
So, I decided to go that way. They did give me some pills, some painkillers. And I was getting ready for a fight. I injured my left knee. And I was doing the most simplest workout, just high knees, little high knees in place.
I believe it.
And I stepped down, and I believe that when I stepped down my toe, it just boom, it shot like this big shock through my leg, all the way up to my hip. It was my like a nerve. But when the doctor told me it was impact trauma to the sciatic nerve, to the knee, something like that. But anyways, they gave me the pills, and it just felt bad, bro. It was just, nausea and all that stuff.
Oh yeah, the pills you mean? Yeah.
Just like itching. I was like, why am I getting all itchy?
Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So I was like, no, I'm good with this, So I just went that route. And I do believe that, hey, use it just strictly for medical use. But the other people that just want to partake in it just because it's recreational, there has to be that separation right there,
For me, if you haven't lost your entire life and your children and your car and your job for smoking, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
You're fine. You know what I mean? And when we're talking about recovering addict, though, a recovering addict from who has lost all their life and their children, such as myself, I don't need to touch weed because I don't need to put the question out there, is this a gateway for me to go back into something? You know what I mean? I don't even need that question answered. I'm not even curious about it. And so that's why I say it's not no California sober for me, because I'm just not curious to even know. You know what I mean? But like anybody else, I mean, there's people who can go drink on the weekend and they still have their jobs of 10 years, don't lose their job. I decided to do the most, you know what I mean, and lose my entire life. And that's the difference between me and a person who's able to do that.
So, did you guys decided to go like a recovery group or to a church group?
So initially, well, I mean, if we're going to talk about spirituality, that's a good question. For me, and I know that we have kind of a different story on this.
We do.
So for me, religion was a difficult subject for me. Growing up, I didn't have it in my life. I'd gone to church a few times with some friends, but that was really just out of curiosity to see what it was like. And so coming into recovery, the whole concept of God was new for me. So I really had to dive deep, and I really didn't want to just jump on some bandwagon because a lot of people say it at a meeting and just to be, one of the people, you know what I mean, to kind of fit in. That really wasn't the direction I wanted to go. So I, you know what I mean? Like I took a deep dive into that for myself, and religion still for me is not a go, like Christianity or anything like that. I really didn't get in touch with any type of spirituality or the real, like what I now believe as like a concept of creator and spirituality until I was introduced to the Sweat Lodge. That's really where I have opened up to any type of idea. It's something where I feel connected, which, you know what I mean, which is with Creator, Mother Earth, through working with the fire. That is where I have found my center. That is where I find my balance. That is where I find my direction. That is where I go. Like that, like our lodge that we have out on the Pascoyaki Reservation. Like that's my home place. That's where I go. That's where I've learned how to pray. Before that, like the word pray was like almost like a bad word for me. Like I was like anti-religious. Anti-God. I guess you could say I was a bit of an atheist, but I didn't really care for any labels, so I never labeled it. But that's a different story now. Like prayer is a big part of my life. And it's you know what I mean? And it's not like I go in and I pray for things in my life. Like I've got people now that I am responsible for, that I have to look after or take care of, which is my family. So that's why I continue to go back and have dedicated a lot of my time and my thoughts and my life towards, really aligning my actions in my life with my prayer. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to step on that, which is something that happens a lot, or something that maybe I used to do. So really, I go in to pray for my family, and I'll give up of myself, of my body, of my time, to pray for my family. Yeah.
What about yourself?
And for me, so I've always been a spiritual person. My mom and dad have instilled that in me since as long as I can remember. So even through my active addiction, I always had an awareness that regardless of what I was doing, God was still there. And then once I got into recovery and we started getting kids back into our lives, the prayer, like I double down on my prayers moment to moment. We have 2 young babies, one's 2 and the other's 7 months apart from her, because we're foster parents. And, just the mental and emotional fortitude you need to run a household full of kids and care for them because they're depending on you. It's constant prayer and it's constant gratitude, because that definitely wasn't me 4 years ago. I didn't have the title of mother then, and what comes with that title is so much work. I don't even want to talk about the worry. You got to pray yourself out of worry. You got to pray yourself out of doubt, and fear. So I've always had a close relationship to God, even when I was doing the worst things. Church also doesn't really work for me, just from past experiences. I've been homeless. Me and my family have been homeless growing up in my early age. And church is where I would go to be inside because it was so hot here in Yuma. And I just seen a lot of things go on, so it kind of ruined the setting for me. But I still knew that God could be a part of my life without doing that. And so right now, when we got out of rehab, we did start off with the NA program and the rooms and things like that, but life started hitting so fast with blessings and with jobs and with, it was almost like, you know what? I gotta have faith in myself on this. Like, I can't be triggered by anyone at Circle K. That is no longer, that's a story in my life. That addiction is a part of my life. I have a whole lot of life where I am something else, and I got things to do.
Well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If I can just add to that, when, so there's certain things that they tell you first off in recovery, like that, like 2 addicts, shouldn't be together, like that it doesn't work.
Of the codependency.
Yeah, that it's not possible to be successful in recovery and be with a couple. Yeah, to be a couple. Can I swear on here? Okay, we were like fuck that. Yeah, okay, cool. So we were like fuck that, because listen, we don't necessarily there's no written statement of this is how life has to be. And so when we got out of rehab, we hit the ground running, you know what I mean? Like, so I want to kind of paint the picture. When we came into recovery, we had no kids. So between the 2 of us together, we have 10 children. And so we we came into this with none of our kids, nothing, no money, no clothes, no place to live. You know, when we first got out of rehab, like we had to stay in a shelter. We fought our way back into life. You know, and we crawled when we had to. We kicked, and you know what I mean. Like we fought our way back into life, and we
served time on old warrants even.
Shit, yeah. I mean,
lost my daughter to overdose at 7 months into recovery. So yeah, there are things that I feel, what is the word? I don't want to say it's like autopilot or the things that are taught to you in rehab, they are true because people have done them, right? They have left with a significant other, left treatment early and have went and gotten high, and it's seen more times than none. And people are triggered by seeing my drug of choice was meth, and they are triggered by seeing a pipe, or they are triggered by seeing those things. And I kept hearing what was supposed to happen to me when I seen one, and how I was supposed to feel if I lost a child, and you know, that's relapse time. And in my soul, I was just like, no, I don't have to. And I did lose my daughter to overdose 7 months in, and I think shortly after that, we got arrested.
So yeah, you want to go into the whole story? Okay.
So we got arrested 7 months into our recovery because we finally bought a car, but the tags were expired, and
we had, literally had the car for 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we got pulled over, and he was telling me, "Don't tell him that you have a warrant." And I was like, "I don't think that's gonna work." So we end up getting rolled in together.
Yeah, and this is in Tucson.
Yeah. So we have to wait to be extradited to Yuma
because we had absconded from probation here in Yuma.
Yeah.
We just left to get clean.
Yeah.
We didn't do it necessarily the right way or by the books, but we just had to do it. So we got out and handled things on our own. And we were clean. You know, we had 7-8 months clean time.
Right.
I was working at a rehab. Yeah.
We got arrested, and I think it takes 5 days to be classified in Pima County Jail. And the 5th day, I finally got in touch with my oldest son's dad. And he let me know that our daughter had passed away from an overdose. So I think I sat in jail for another 4 days. She had 2 funerals, one in Milwaukee where she was raised, and then one on tribal land. And I had to plan both of those funerals, clothes and flowers and things like that, through video visit. It was extremely hard. It was extremely hard because I don't know if anybody's been to jail. You can't really sit in a cell and cry. They'll put you in isolation. Isolation, I don't do good in. So, I couldn't really mourn or cry heavily. And if I did, it had to be by the toilet, you know. And then I think, I want to say a week after her funeral in tribal land, I got sentenced to 2.5 years to prison. And I mitigated that. Well, this guy showed up with all documentation proving I had been clean for 8 months, and my judge reinstated me on probation on Valentine's Day. Because of that act of God and my higher power, there was no way I was gonna hit a pipe on a drug, on weed. I wasn't gonna take a drink. I just wasn't gonna spit in his face like that. And I had made a deal that I would do whatever he put at my feet. Whether it be foster baby, whether it be people who need me to drive 4 hours here to take them to rehab on my own dime, whatever it is. That was 7 months in. I got out at, I think, 11 months clean. Yeah. And that's the deal me and my higher power made, and I've stuck to that. And it seems like sticking to that and being a woman of my word, as opposed to when I was in active addiction and in jail and just made that deal to get out so I could use again. Yeah. I really meant it this time, and everything has come. House, car, child after child. Children I thought I wasn't going to see till they were 18 and came looking for me. You know, a baby. I got pregnant at 47. Had her at 48, so we didn't see that one coming. Yeah. Thought I had fried all that down there from like use, you know what I mean? Like health-wise, you know? So, that's the story. My daughter's name was Daisy, you know what I mean? We remember her every day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, our new baby has her name, her middle name.
Yeah, absolutely.
And going real quick to God and Creator and spiritualism, and it's good to have a strong heart.
Ah,
Shout out to my girl.
absolutely.
You know, shout out to my girl. I just started going to church. I used to go to church when I was a kid. You know, and I met this great woman, and she started taking me to church. I decided to go to church. I made this decision. I was like, hey, you know what? I've been away from God, Creator. I was also through spiritualism, like, you know, through other avenues, you know. But there's that emptiness sometimes, and that emptiness is this. It's like, you know what? You need to get good with the man upstairs, you know, with God, Creator, wherever that person is to you. But yeah, having a strong partner, a woman, you know, man, your partners is it's key right there.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely feel very fortunate that it's that we had each other through this. And it was, you know, we both, there was like an understanding, you know, we really sometimes didn't even have to, like, it was almost like we didn't have to say it. There was no like time when we like sat down and we were like, okay,
Yeah,
this.
we got separated at rehab.
Yeah, we got
We
separated.
came clean and said we were a couple, which they didn't allow.
Yeah.
And they separated us. So
But it was not like we sat down and we're like, okay, this is our plan. This is what we're going to do. We just did it. You know what I mean? And we had each other's back no matter what hiccup or no matter what kind of obstacle was put in our way. We just weren't going to stop. And we still got more work to do. Like, we're not done yet. We still got some more kids out there that, and we're getting everybody. Like, everybody's got a seat at the table. And I'm not going to be okay until everybody sits down at the table. You know, like, so we do have this like joint mission that we've been on, you know, and it's like, and it's an unspoken thing almost, not that we don't talk about it. I'm not saying that there's no communication, but it's like we have this understanding that there isn't anything that we're going to allow to come up in our lives or in front of us that's going to deter us from doing this. You know what I mean? We lived a lot of our lives being selfish, you know, before, and I didn't really have the ability to look at how my behavior or how my actions were affecting others. That's what I do on a daily now. You know, I live for my family. You know, I work for my family. We like everything that we do is for each other and for our family. I think family it was a concept I didn't really quite understand. It was something that I knew that I wanted. But it's just interesting that all my actions prior to getting clean were pushing that away. But now that I have it, it's not something that I ever want to let go of.
What's next for them? What's the next step? Have you guys been involved in any type of programs or want to start a program for recovery?
Okay, that's a good question. We've actually worked. We worked in behavioral health for a number of years. Both of us. We've both been behavioral health technicians. RSSs.
Facilitation.
I've been the director of a program. I've also been the program administrator of another program. And right now, I am not working in behavioral health, not professionally. Right now, I'm working more on the construction side. Part of that is due to we have a lot of kids and I needed some more money coming in. The other part is like, I really want to I want to help people on my free time. There's some things that some programs try to push a specific narrative. So we're still heavily involved in the community. Like some of my brothers and sisters, we still take a sweat lodge into one of the programs that's in Tucson, which is the Amity Foundation, which is in both California and Arizona. We put on a big Wellbriety camp out every October, which is coming up this October. This will be our 4th year of doing it.
We just got certified in Wellbriety, which is the Native American 12 steps. So we also just started a community talking circle. which on my end I'm looking to start a talking circle for the women that can bring their kids. It's really hard for moms to take their kids to a meeting and not see the faces of everyone else getting annoyed. So we might as well just come to my house and just fill the house with a bunch of bad kids and, talk about our problems. And I am a sponsor. I do have one sponsee. I have another sponsee that's kind of on the fence, but I'm hoping she finds her way to me. Like you said, so the working in rehabs as a group facilitator and teaching the curriculum that they want us to teach, sometimes for me personally felt lacking from having the experience of being a recovering addict and hitting the ground running and attaining all the things that have left these empty spaces in our heart and in our lives. There's a certain mindset that you need, and I felt like rehab kind of, honestly just kind of babies you. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really, listen, a trigger's a trigger. You don't got to do nothing about a trigger but notice it and keep it moving in the right direction. It doesn't have to be a weighing decision for you to choose the wrong thing, especially with something how it's going to end, how it's going to end up if you use again. So there's these things that I've been able to teach my sponsee that I feel they're useful. Like in your everyday life, this is what you're going to run into. And this is, like I said, you've got to unlearn things. I don't think that in rehab curriculum, we get them used to the idea that you need to unlearn a lot of the things, the misconceptions, and even the paranoia and the psychosis are hard enough to sift through. You know what I mean? In 30 days just doesn't cut it. We're teaching you how to, breathe right. You know what I mean? You need a little more than that to really deal with this world out here, being a recovering addict. So yeah, I'm still very active with people who are recovering addicts.
So I think another, if I can add on to that as well, and by no means do I have this stance where I'm against rehab or any type of facility, because whatever works for you, whatever it takes,
whatever works for you,
whatever it takes, whatever works for you, do it. You know what I mean? So I think the word that I am currently focusing on is community, because I think there is this structure that happens in some of these facilities where there are specific boundaries, which makes sense. There are boundaries that protect both a client and the staff that works there. But I could never wrap my head around, looking keeping that specific boundary between because we're all a part of this world, right? We're all in this community, and it's more than just sitting in this class and someone telling you how to live. You know what I mean? You got to walk with somebody. You got to be there. There has to be this life experience that you share together. And it doesn't end right there. It doesn't end in the classroom setting. It doesn't end, you know what I mean, when you get the certificate and you walk out the door of a rehab. There has to be a continuation. And so that's what we are really focusing on here in Tucson, is creating this community, this ever growing community that we continue to serve, be there for each other, and a lot of that is the central focus for that for us is ceremony, which starts with the fire. So there's a lot of work that goes into this as well, not only just the personal work that you need to work through for yourself, but I don't know, from what I've learned is there's also some labor, physical stuff that you got to go through and you got to put into this life if you want it. And that's a big question. If you want it.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Here's another question. Fighting that feeling that edge, how to cope with that. Mm-hmm. Some people go away, hey, I'm gonna go for a walk, I'm gonna go, to the group. Boxing is big on just even go to the gym, mm-hmm. Signing up for a running group. And I know that Res has a big, or a nice really nice facility, where a lot of people go, and it's open to the community.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. But they do still have one.
Because every time I pass through there, there's that nice setup like with the weights, nice boulevard.
Oh yeah, that's the one they're using that now. That's the one they're using now. But the new one right there, they're gonna be. I think it opens in July.
And that's a dope start right there. And it would be great, like a community, youth boxing group, or even for adults.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It's cool. It's big help. A lot of fighters, and I ran into a fighter that was into addiction. He was really into painkillers and did everything in the book pretty much. And this guy found MMA. And ever since then, he started, his own groups, MMA, training groups, youth groups, and stuff like that. And every time, some ex-concert, hey, I'm getting an hey, let's go for a run. Let's go work out. Give me a whole pass for you or something. So working out is a great avenue for people that are still going through the struggle. And, what's up, Raymond? Bring us what's up. He says, yeah, it's difficult to recover. Recovering is daily, it's daily struggles, fight, so, yeah, true, man.
So I think you bring up a good point. Again, which what you're talking about, from what I'm hearing, is that you found or there's a community out there for you. And it's just like there's similarities between all these, like there's some foundational similarities between all these things, whether it's this religion, that religion, this spirituality, this athletic stuff that you're talking about, this support group. What it is, again, is you find a community, like you find...
and connection. It's human connection. It's human nature to want to be connected to something. Even in active addiction, when you're around all the other people that use meth or use dope, you think you're connected, but that's a lie. And that's why you keep having to get high to try to fill that with that group of people. If you can get enough space between you and physically using the drug, the active addiction, to fill that space with a boxing club. And it takes courage. A coping skill is what you're talking about, but then there's coping skills evolving into coping mechanisms, and coping mechanisms turning into pretty much what you eat, shit, live, and breathe by. Like you said, your friend, he took MMA and he started doing all these things from it. At first, it was a way to deal, and then it became his life. You can do that with anything good, but when you're in active addiction, it's just dope. Alcohol. But you can put something else in that space to where it becomes your life. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, there's a lot of stages to coping skills.
And when you're in active addiction, so like if we talk about connection, you're not connected with yourself. There's no way that you can truly feel yourself or the environment around you. You may think so, but your head is so twisted up and your perception of everything is so either backwards or upside down that you really have no real connection to self. So if you have no connection to self, how can you have any real connection with anyone else? So that's something that we as humans really crave and that we need when we come into recovery. Like that's the biggest thing. Like we need people. We need that's the type of creatures that we are. We need to feel like we belong. We need to feel loved. We need to feel a part of something. There needs to be purpose. And being connected and being a part of a community really helps facilitate that and helps you really like fasten to somewhere. Keeps your feet on the ground. There are people that care about you, that will hold you accountable and call you on your bullshit whenever you are starting to stray the other way. It's important. It's important. So I encourage anybody, it doesn't matter what community it is.
Yeah, whether
there's
it's church,
anything.
boxing,
there's
racing,
Art, painting.
anything. There are other people out there that are just like you that have these same interests. Like, get out there. Don't isolate and stay by yourself. Like you need.
It's like you said, man. I like what you said when you said how many programs you get, certificates you get. It's not done.
It's an honor.
When you leave that building, you still gotta keep fighting.
It's every day.
for it.
Every day.
Yeah,
Every day.
I like that,
Yeah.
People think, okay, hey, that's the thing. I'm better now. You know, you're not.
No, the fucking battle has just started.
Yeah.
Honestly, and so like it's for me, it was easier to initially get off of drugs, but then like what I didn't realize early on in recovery was that I had to learn how to live. That was the more difficult part because I didn't know. I spent almost my whole life using everything that I learned how to do in life. I learned while I was high. On some type of substance. So like it wasn't difficult to walk away initially. The harder part for me was how to relearn how to be in life. Like those in-between times when there's not something going on, late at night when you do have some solitude, like that's the time when you really got to focus. You know, that's the time when you have to relearn and keep your focus on your goals. You know what I mean? Like, is this really gonna get me to where I'm trying to reach for?
Yeah, I mean, even with the idle time, a lot of times I've seen is, you know, one of the top 5 answers of, you know, what are you afraid will cause relapse is boredom and complacency. And it's like, well, boredom, you know, like I say, boredom just is the absence of chaos. When you're an active addict, it's time to boost. It's time to go spend whoever's food stamp card. It's time to go jump whoever. It's time to get a lick up. But then all of a sudden you just have like peace, and it comes as the word boredom, and you feel like, well, if I'm bored, I need to do something about it. But you really don't got to do shit. You could just enjoy your peace and read a book. God, you know, why do I have to be in jail to read a book? Like, here I am free. Why don't I read a book? why don't I, you know, run around with my kids outside? Like, I think, let me see. Technically, a year ago, I would have still been in prison had the judge stuck to that sentence. So a lot of times, for me, gratitude is my focal point of the day. My first prayer in the morning is, thank you, God, for waking all of us up in the same house, and your will, not my will today. I don't use my will for anything. I just ask for God's will and how this day he has planned for me to go, for it to go that way, and I'm going to go along with it. And, you know, boredom to me now is one I rarely get it because we have so many kids. But if I do get solitude, I love that. That's like a little jewel to me. You know, so I mean, just the things that your mind, that you can be so used to telling your mind how they can trick you back into old behaviors. You can't believe everything your brain says. My brain says some crazy stuff by 12 p.m. in the day. And if I listen to everything it said, I'd probably be in like at least 3 arguments with who knows who by now. On Facebook for no reason. You know what I mean? So you don't always have to listen to that thing. You know what I mean? You can observe it and be like, okay, you know, but you know, you always have the ability, when you're off of drugs, you have the ability to choose. You get to choose what to do with your boredom today. There's a point in my active addiction where there was no choice. I was going to go look to get high. Whoever I had to sit around, people with records being sex offended, I didn't know those people's backgrounds. But I sit there 6 and 7 hours with them. You know what I mean? Not something I would do today. Absolutely not. I don't even want to remember the people that I sat around with. You know what I mean? Me and him were driving up here right now, and there's not a spot in this town that I didn't get arrested at or I didn't buy drugs from. We just ran into someone at Circle K that we used to buy drugs from. I went up to him, I said, what's your name? Didn't I used to buy from you? He said, oh yeah. I won't say his name on here, but oh yeah. But the thing is, this is the town where it's a constant reminder to be able to roll in here and roll out of here with my recovery intact. Such a flex. Such a flex.
We hope someday, you know, when we get everything together, we want to bring it back here. You know, we want to bring back the message and all the gifts that we've been given, all the education that we've received. When the moment is right and the pieces all fit together, like that's the ultimate dream for us. Like, because one of the things that I learned was in Wellbriety is first self, then family, then community, then nation. So right now we're in the season of family, and then we when it is right, when that season comes, we're coming back and we're gonna give back to the community here.
Thank you. Anywhere, the followers are asking, is there anywhere that they can maybe reach out to you guys and ask for some advice?
Absolutely, and we can help point you in the right direction. If you're wherever you are, we can help link you up with.
So I have a recovery page. So it's my whole first name and last name. Do you want me to spell it out?
Yeah,
for you?
you can.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
CLELANE on Facebook.
Cool.
Yeah. You can message me whatever you need.
Yeah, I'm not on social media, but I'll give you my phone number. Anybody can call me at any time. My number is area code 520-554-4778. And any kind of question, any kind of help, or if you just need somebody to talk to, reach out anytime, day or night. I'll answer.
Or if anybody has a brother or somebody who's male who wants to talk to him, you can usually people hit me up on my messenger, and then I just relay it to him.
Yeah, and we'll whatever it may be. If you are looking to get into a spot, wherever you may be, we've got a lot of friends in recovery that work still in behavioral health. We can help connect you and point you in the right direction and make that happen for you.
Great, man. Hey, thank you guys for coming by.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
It was a great story, very touching, and look forward to what's to come for you guys the next step. I'd love to have you guys again on the podcast and see what the progress process has been, see what's up, any new programs, anything what's going on with you guys later, and you guys will walk anytime.
Cool, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, it was a pleasure.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a good story.
Right, guys, this was Offbeat and Unfiltered Podcast, and again, if you guys have any questions, any advice or anything like that, you guys know where to reach. It's going to be towards the end of the podcast. They share the social medias, right? It's a Sunday, you guys go home. Enjoy the Sunday. It's people today, Mexico versus England. So Mexico's whoop that ass.
Hell yeah.
Go.
Mexico, alright guys, peace out. You guys have a good night.